Hey there, welcome to the video. My name is Jordan and this is the Transform Yourself channel. I just finished meditating 1 hour a day for the first 7 days of 2020 and I plan to continue for the full year. I'll be using a different technique every week. In these weekly videos, I'm going to be going over the meditation technique that I'm using for the week and I'm going to go over my day-to-day experience. I'll end off the video sharing any insights that I've made during the week. I've been meditating on and off for about 10 years now. The longest that I've meditated daily in a row was last year. I did 100 days in a row, 1 hour every day. I tried to do the full year, but I fell off track. This year I'm determined to do the full year and I hope that making these videos will help me stay on track. I also hope that these videos will be entertaining for people and encourage other people to consider starting a daily meditation habit. If you're new to meditation, I recommend starting with just 10 or 20 minutes. It can take a while to become comfortable sitting for a long time while meditating. If you're physically uncomfortable, it's going to be way harder for you to meditate for a long time. So starting with 10 or 20 minutes and slowly increasing your time will allow your body to get used to sitting for a long time. And you'll be more likely to stick with it. I decided for myself to meditate for an hour every day because I can physically sit there comfortably for an hour. And I've seen lots of benefits from meditating, so I want to get as many benefits as possible. For week 1, I'm going to be using the Mindfulness meditation with labeling technique taught by Shinzen Young. I'll have links to the videos that I watched to learn the technique in the description below. Mindfulness is experiencing your sensory channels exactly as they are. Mindfulness is made out of 3 components: focus, sensory clarity, and equanimity. Focus is being able to keep your attention on certain objects without being distracted. Sensory clarity is how clearly you perceive raw data from your mind. Equanimity is the ability to not react emotionally to an uncomfortable sensation. For example, it's not getting road rage when someone cuts you off in traffic, and not worrying about things that you don't have control over. Okay, so here's how you do the technique. It has 3 steps done over and over in a cycle. There are 3 main senses that allow you to experience things: seeing, hearing, and feeling. The first step is to note your attention is on something. The second step is to label it see, hear, or feel mentally in your internal dialogue. The third step is to savor that sensation. One cycle should last 2 breaths at a time. Here's an example. Let's say you notice that your refrigerator is making a noise in the other room, and you label it hear. Focus only on that sound for 2 breaths. After the 2 breaths, you may have noticed that your mind has an image of your refrigerator, so you label it see. You savor that image in your head for 2 breaths. Next, maybe you feel tension in your jaw, so you label it feel and put your attention on your jaw. If your jaw relaxes as you're breathing, then savor the new sensation of a relaxed jaw. So the label see is what you can see with your eyes, or it could be a mental image in your head. The label hear can be what you hear with your ears, or a mental dialogue or sounds in your mind. The label feel can be physical sensations or emotions. Taste and smell can be labeled feel as well. So that's the whole technique. You get the most benefit from your time meditating if you savor the sensation with as much focus and clarity as possible. If you notice that you forgot to label and fall off track, just be kind to yourself and continue with the technique. My first day meditating, it was a lot more difficult than I expected. I was really excited to get going, but I found it really difficult to focus. The day earlier, I went to see the new Star Wars movie in theaters, and I went to a New Year's party. My mind kept getting lost in thought about the movie and the conversations I had at the party. The last 30 minutes or so I could focus much better. The last 15 minutes was a lot more difficult than usual. I had a lot of pain in my butt from the way I was sitting, and it felt so uncomfortable that my palms started sweating. I started breathing really deeply to try to calm myself down and continue focusing. I was so happy when the alarm went off in the other room and I knew I was finished. Day 2, I learned from my mistake yesterday and I spent a lot more time making sure I seated properly. I was comfortable for the full hour, so I guess it worked. I started out focusing better in the beginning than the day before. About 30 minutes in, I started getting waves of sleepiness and my mind kept wandering to internal images and dialogue. It would have been a lot easier to focus if I didn't get those waves of sleepiness. I decided I'd try to come up with a way to keep myself more alert. I felt well rested after finishing the meditation. Day 3 I was determined to meditate as well as possible, and I really stepped up my game. As you're going to see in the video, I did a 5-minute concentration practice before I started meditating. I touched my thumb and forefinger together and I just focused as hard as I could on the sensation between the two fingers. To conquer my sleepiness, I made sure I slept 8 hours the night before. I also focused my thoughts to consider that the meditation I did that day was going to be the most important thing, and I need to spend all my energy and focus on it. This is the first day of the year that I drank coffee before meditating. I told myself that the chemicals in the coffee would unleash my energy and focus. I don't know if coffee actually does help you to have more energy, but I wanted to use the placebo effect to help me unleash more of my energy and focus. I rewatched a video on concentration made by Leo from actualize.org. There will be a link to that video in the description below. He recommends having a short concentration practice before meditating to improve your ability to focus. The difference between a concentration practice and meditation is when you concentrate, you focus on one object with your awareness without ever wavering your attention for even half a second. In meditation, losing concentration and bringing it back is all part of meditation. It's a lot less strict. With all the preparation I did beforehand, my mind was laser focused when I started meditating. I didn't get distracted and stop labeling until at least halfway through. I wasn't even aware of any internal images for the first 20 minutes or so because I was so focused on the physical sensations, emotions, and sound. Even auditory thoughts were fairly infrequent. The second half of the meditation, I felt my mind become a little less focused, though it was still a lot better than the previous 2 days. It was overall a great experience, and I was really happy to find out that the preparation I did before meditating had such a huge effect. On day 4, I did my 5 minutes of concentration just like I did the day before. It did help me focus a lot better, but it didn't give me the same effect as it did the day before. I didn't have my alarm set up properly in the other room, so it didn't go off, and my backup alarm went on my phone, which turned off my video. So I don't have video of myself crossing off the day on the calendar. I was less focused than in day 3, but a lot more focused than in day 1 and 2. I didn't take a lot away from this meditation, but I got a lot of practice focusing my mind, and it was good practice. The 5th day was a Sunday, and I naturally woke up really early, so I decided to sit longer than usual. I started with the 5 minutes of concentration, and then I tried sitting for as long as I could doing the mindfulness meditation with labeling technique. I was able to concentrate really well the entire time. I lost my focus several times, but I brought my attention back within 10 seconds every time. I was really happy with my performance, and I ended up sitting for the longest time I've ever done. In the past, I've done about 1.5 hours of meditation as my longest. But on day 5, I sat for 5 minutes of concentration and around 1 hour and 50 minutes of mindfulness meditation. I know from my experience last year sitting, it's usually not so easy to sit an hour every day for meditation. I'm really grateful that I've been able to have these nice peaceful meditation sits so far. I know last year, at around the 45-minute mark, most days I would be really uncomfortable and just struggle to make it for the full hour. On day 6, I got lost in thoughts many times for up to 30 seconds at a time. I started meditating before I ate breakfast. All I had was a glass of water. The previous 3 days I either ate or I at least drank some coffee, and I was able to focus a lot more. So I'm going to keep that in mind in the upcoming days. Even though I got distracted more than the previous few days, I was still really happy that I sat for the full hour. I wasn't discouraged because I knew my mind wasn't going to be laser focused every day. I put all my effort into it, and that's what matters. On day 7, I ate food and drank coffee before meditating. I went to bed at around midnight, and I woke up naturally at around 6 a.m. after having a vivid dream. Normally, I don't remember my dreams, and I sleep for 8 hours and still feel exhausted. I'll keep track of which days I can remember my dreams and how long I sleep. I wanted to have a really good meditation day, so I visualized myself meditating really well, and I psyched myself up before I started meditating. I did my usual 5 minutes of concentration, and my thoughts were rapidly firing at first, but they calmed down really quickly. During my meditation, I got lost in thought maybe 3 or 4 times for around 30 seconds, but I at least did a lot better than the day before. The hour on day 7 flew by. I was really getting into it and I was sort of sad that I had to stop. I'm really happy that I successfully completed my first week. I got a couple insights from this week of meditation. I learned that you'll experience things with more clarity if you spend longer times focusing on it. For example, if you feel your heart beating and you focus on that sensation, the longer you focus on it, the more clearly you'll feel that sensation. What's also interesting is if you come back the next day and you focus back on your heart, the clarity will come back to you much more quickly the second and third time. I also learned that I can consistently put my mind in a focused state if I just try to concentrate on a sensation for around 5 minutes. I really think that extra 5 minutes of concentration practice is gonna give me way more benefits on the meditation than I do afterwards. That's all I have to say for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll be reading all the comments. If you have any suggestions on things you'd like to see in these weekly videos, then just let me know in the comments. And I'll see you guys next time.